Welcome back, my brothers. This is Dom's Roundtable, and I am your host, Dom. And today I'm going to be breaking down all 22 weapons and all 6 classes for you to determine definitively which ones you should focus on maxing out first, as they will give you the biggest return on investment, meaning more efficient leveling of future classes and weapons and a better and more enjoyable gameplay experience all round, as you'll be able to crush all difficulty modes and breeze through the leveling of all additional content. So if that all sounds good to you, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and let's start breaking down the data. I was going to tackle this by talking about classes first and weapons second, but you will see quite quickly that it makes much more sense to discuss everything everywhere all at once, because there's a lot of intertwining parts. So let's start with the easiest information to digest first. You really want to focus on 2 things: weapons that are shared among lots of classes and classes that use lots of weapons. One of the most important things to remember is that classes can have up to 3 weapons. However, some of them only have 2, making some classes far more efficient when trying to level up multiple things at once. This means that though it is an absolute powerhouse of a class, probably the strongest in the game and my absolute favorite, the heavy is very inefficient to level because they do not have a melee weapon. And remember from my tips videos, you can only level up your active ranged weapon, the one you currently have equipped, meaning you have to choose between your primary and your secondary for your heavy. So if you run heavy as your first class, you are literally only going to be leveling 1 weapon at a time, which is very slow and very inefficient. Please do note, I'm not trying to dictate the way you play. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. The heavy is easily my favorite class, and it is currently the most OP. In fact, I'll be doing a full video on why that is in just a few days. But this video is about the best classes and the best weapons to level up first if you want to do it the most efficiently and get the most out of your playtime. And the heavy just isn't going to do that because it's very slow to do so. There are 2 other classes that again only have 2 weapon options instead of 3. This is the Bulwark and the Assault, as neither of them can have a primary weapon. However, this isn't anywhere near as much of a hindrance as it is for the heavy, because remember, you can only level 1 ranged weapon at a time anyway. And this brings us to a perfect place to discuss the absolute best weapon in the game for leveling, the Bolt Pistol. The Bolt Pistol is hands down the absolute best weapon to level up in the whole game, because this is the only weapon shared by all 6 classes. Meaning if you get this weapon to Relic tier and then equip my absolute favorite version, the Ophelian Liberation Alpha, you get the most efficient medium range damage pistol you can possibly get. And with the Alpha version, you only have 1 less firepower than the Beta version, but you get 60 additional rounds from 120 to 180, granting you a hell of a lot more overall damage for longer encounters where you can't get up close and personal, such as Neurothropes or Hellbrutes. Now, taking the Bolt Pistol as an example, we have eliminated the heavy and we will eliminate the sniper because it shares very few other similarities with any of the other classes, apart from kind of with the tactical, but we'll cover that later. There are far better options for your number 1 most efficient way to level. So let's take a look at the remaining classes and weapons. The 4 classes that we now have to take into consideration are Tactical, Vanguard, Assault, and Bulwark. And as you primarily want to start by leveling your Bolt Pistol, the next most important weapon category is your melee weapon. And for this, the Power Fist is a great option, as it has a really fun moveset, it's just fantastically cool to use, and it's shared with both the Assault and the Bulwark. However, the Chainsword would be an even better option, as this is shared by all 3 of the Tactical, the Vanguard, and the Bulwark. So now, with the Chainsword and Bolt Pistol combination, we could very easily have a great maxed out relic weapon combination for half of the classes in the game. And you could use the Bolt Pistol for your mid-ranged single target engagements, or even to pick off hordes and swarms before they get to you, and then the Chainsword, specifically the fencing or balance variations, for fantastic options to keep you alive through close combat encounters. Though the damage of the balance is incredible, being 15, I much prefer the fencing version for the increased parry windows and a significantly faster attack speed. Now that we've looked at the secondary and melee weapons that are shared with the most classes, it's nearly time to talk about the all-important primary weapons. But please note, after this and before my conclusion and wrap up, I will give you some really great alternative loadouts as well that are still nearly as efficient and are heaps of fun to play. Because I don't want to go away and say to you, like, literally use this one class and these 3 weapons, because that's no fun and everyone would want to run it. So I will give you at least 3 incredible class and weapon combinations to go away with to focus on first. So make sure you stick around as I delve into some more really powerful combinations. So we've talked about the pistol, we've talked about the melee, and of the 3 classes that share both of these weapons, there is actually only one shared primary weapon between any of these classes, and that is the melter rifle shared by both the tactical and the vanguard. So, to summarize, the absolute best weapon and class combo to level first, if you're just talking efficiency alone, would be the bolt pistol, the chainsword, and the melter rifle, with both the tactical and the vanguard. And something else that makes this combination even more powerful is that it gives you a really solid ranged class in the tactical that is fantastic at taking down big threats, and a really solid melee class that can lock down ranged enemies, the vanguard. And with these 3 relic weapons combined, they will fit into almost every single loadout in the entire game. So now that you know that, let's talk about some other really great alternatives, some other super fun builds that are still going to be very efficient and help you level other weapons and classes really quickly. I did say at the start of the video I would be breaking down all 22 weapons, and I do have a list in front of me of every single weapon and which classes share them weapons. So let's now quickly eliminate all of the weapons that aren't shared with any class, just so you know what you're working with. Firstly, the heavy, unfortunately, is very inefficient, because the heavy is going to specifically rely on his primary weapon. All 3 of the heavy's primary weapons are absolutely insane. Genuinely 3 of the best in the game, hands down. But unfortunately, they are all only usable by the heavy. So he's his own beast. And if you want to focus on the heavy, do that. It's absolutely incredible. You'll have an amazing time. Just note, you're not really going to be progressing anyone else while you do so. And if you do still want to focus on the heavy, the 3 primary weapons are the heavy bolter, the heavy plasma incinerator, and the multi-melter. And hands down, the multi-melter is the best of the 3. I'll cover it in depth in the heavy's own video, but ideally for the heavy you want the multi-melter for swarms and the plasma pistol as your secondary for single target. Next up, if you like the sound of tactical, because it's so versatile with so many different weapons that are shared with pretty much every other class, then good news and bad news, because you have a hell of a lot of choice for your primary weapon. The tactical has the most primary weapon choices in the game by more than double, with 7 different weapons to choose from. However, the 3 I definitely recommend focusing on first are the Stalker Bolt Rifle or the Bolt Carbine, because these are both shared with the Sniper, or as previously mentioned, the Melter Rifle, because that's shared with the Vanguard. The other 4, the Bolt Rifle, Auto Bolt Rifle, and Heavy Bolt Rifle, and also the regular Plasma Incinerator, are all exclusive to the tactical and therefore pretty inefficient to level. And the only other 4 primary weapons we haven't spoken about yet are the Instigator Bolt Carbine and Oculus Bolt Carbine, both exclusive to the Vanguard, and the Bolt Sniper Rifle and Las Fusil, both exclusive to the Sniper. All great weapons, especially the 2 sniper rifles. My god, they can absolutely wreck bosses. Playing with a really good sniper against the Helldrake absolutely melts him. So definitely the Las Fusil and the Bolt Sniper Rifle are absolutely fantastic weapons, and ideally you probably do want to run them if you are focusing on the Sniper. Just be warned though, they're exclusive to the Sniper. If you want to level more efficiently, then you'd probably focus the Bolt Carbine, or even better, the Stalker Bolt Rifle, because it's more of a semi-automatic sniper rifle. And just revisiting the secondary weapons again, obviously we've already discussed the fact that the bolt pistol is incredible because it's the only weapon in the game shared by every single class. Just so that you know, the assault also has the heavy bolt pistol, which may be worth it, but definitely focus the bolt pistol first. And if you are wanting to main the bulwark or the heavy, the plasma pistol, far better than the bolt pistol. Obviously, to make the most out of it, you want to charge it up, so it's definitely a bit more situational than the bolt pistol, but the actual damage output is second to none. It even out damages certain primary weapons. So if you're using the bulwark or the heavy, probably switch to the plasma. And finally, before I give you some real fleshed out loadouts, let's have a look at the melee weapons. Obviously, we already determined that the Chainsword is fantastic because it is shared with 3 classes, Tactical, Vanguard, and Bulwark. And the Bulwark also shares the Power Fist with the Assault, so the Bulwark's melee options are absolutely amazing. Then the only other shared melee weapon is the Combat Knife, which is shared between both the Vanguard and the Sniper. However, the Combat Knife is an absolute pile of shit. It's genuinely the worst weapon of the lot, hands down. Though it is also the only melee weapon the Sniper can use, so if you want the Sniper to be somewhat okay in close range combat, definitely worth considering and leveling the Combat Knife at some point. And then finally, we haven't really talked about the Powersword or the Thunderhammer at all. The Powersword potentially being the best melee weapon in the game due to the fact that its heavy attack will actually switch it between single target and multi-target mode, making it really effective at both things. Unfortunately, this is only usable by the Bulwark, and the Thunderhammer is only usable by the Assault. So though they are both great weapons that you want to level eventually, the Power Fist far more efficient because it's usable by both. So, in conclusion, the best combo for leveling is gonna be absolutely the Tactical and the Vanguard, with the Melter Rifle, the Bolt Pistol, and the Chainsword. Because these are the weapons shared with the most classes in the game, meaning every other class, even at level 1, will be able to have at least 1, if not 2, relic tier weapons. However, some other great combinations are the Bulwark with the Power Fist, because that's also shared with the Assault, and the Plasma Pistol because that's shared with the Heavy, so you're basically leveling 3 classes up for the price of 1 there. And also the Sniper with either the Stalker Bolt Rifle or the Bolt Carbine, depending on your playstyle, as they're both shared with the Tactical. And of course the Combat Knife, as that's the only melee weapon the Sniper can wield, but luckily it's shared with the Vanguard, so again, you're basically leveling up 3 classes in 1. Or, if you're feeling spicy, it's not as efficient, but the Heavy with the Multi-Melter and the Plasma Pistol, one of the most deadly combinations in the game. I hope this has helped you make some informed decisions for your next favourite leveling class. And as always, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.